For those who don't know about Omen's abilities, I'll be teaching you guys exactly what they do and how to use them. If you do already know Omen's abilities, I'll be posting the timestamp for you to skip to. That being said, let's get into it. Omen has 3 abilities: Shrouded Step, Paranoia, and Dark Cover. Shrouded Step is an ability in which you teleport towards a surface. The surface can be high, or the surface can be low. As long as you're aiming in the correct direction, you can go above or below. But just be careful to not aim below and expect to go high, because in some cases you might think you're going high, but you're actually not. So just make sure you aim above. Paranoia is pretty direct, to be honest. Paranoia is an ability that fires a purple projectile. Upon hitting an enemy, it blinds your field of view by knifing radius. When blinded, the enemy will have a white sheen above their eyes, signifying that they're blind. As mentioned, this ability travels through anything, so it is more optimally used when you hear someone pushing you or you want to peek an angle. And lastly, outside of the ultimate, is Dark Cover. Dark Cover simply shoots a purple shroud that blocks an area for a period of 10 seconds. It is probably more optimal to use your Dark Cover in areas that are either being pushed or being peeked more often by your enemies. Keep in mind you cannot see through Dark Cover, so if you're going to use your ability, make sure that your teammate is not within the vicinity that you're using your Dark Cover, otherwise you will blind them and possibly get them killed. Lastly, I advise that you guys look at your minimap when using Dark Cover, because you can see exactly where you are shooting your Dark Cover, and it is probably more optimal if you do it that way. Now for Omen's last ability, From the Shadows, which is his ultimate, you use it and you simply click on a location that you want to teleport to. You channel and you teleport, but just know that your channel can be broken because the enemy team can see the location that you are traveling to. Therefore, if they shoot it, it will break your ultimate, or they can wait for you to teleport and simply kill you. Now, they can't see where you're teleporting to on the map, but they can hear your ultimate, and they can also see the location that you are teleporting to physically if they are there. Now, I suggest teleporting behind your enemy team, or putting up shrouds, or teleporting behind the enemy team while they're in a fight. Just be very careful, because your ultimate can be a huge game changer for your team and also for yourself. Now, when you combine your abilities, it should look something like this, a little bit like this.
One there, at least. Oh, fucking sniper, right there, right there.
Cover going out. Go. Hush.
Now, if you notice in that clip, I left a little window open by my shroud. The reason why is because I use that to bait the enemy. I know that the enemy is going to peek there, therefore when I put my other shroud, I can teleport in front and get a pick on an enemy that would not expect me to be in front of him. Me knowing that the enemy would be in that area due to the fact that that's the only area to see me. After that, I kill the enemy that is pushing up towards middle, in consequence of the enemy behind him getting killed. So to be good at Omen, the first things you have to do are use unpredictability as your best tool. You must understand that aggressive play is not running in and killing yourself, but more so outplaying your opponent, and aiding your team while doing so, but also being more strategic and thoughtful. As Omen, remember to utilize your smokes. It is the most effective form of outplay for Omen, and remember to maintain unpredictability. If you can balance both of them, I'm sure you can make some amazing plays come to light.
It's the perfect play.
One enemy remaining.
Right.
Oh shit!
Oh my god.
It's the perfect play.
The perfect play, bro. The IQ's too high. The IQ's too high, bro.
That's actually.
So in this clip I was 1v3, I noticed that the enemy team was guarding the bomb, and I noticed that my teammate died from short and also got shot from long. So I knew that there was one either rotating from spawn or from our window. I decided to go through mid, kill the guy at mid, and then run towards the bomb. Now, at the bomb, I had to jiggle peek, make them waste a little bit of ammo, then I threw my shroud, making them think that I was gonna go pick it up, so they waste all their clips. I pick up the bomb, and then I'd hug the angle, make them think that I rotated, and then I'd kill one of them while they're still guarding the bomb, run back, and kill the other as he chases me down. Now I know these circumstances aren't very common, so I decided to include 2 other clips from the 2 different maps. So I noticed that my teammate was shooting someone towards the top of their spawn. That let me know that they're on the right hand side of the map. possibly pushing B. Therefore, I was kind of in an unlucky state. I decided to smoke off the entry of their spawn towards B and push it, because I knew that if they got access into B, then there would be no way that I could defend it, mainly because there's so many different routes to get onto B site, and they could maybe use their abilities. So instead, I tried to push them and catch them off guard by turning my disadvantage into an advantage. Now for map 2, I decided to cut out the beginning of the map. I got 3 kills, but decided to leave like the important aspect for you guys. But essentially I was stuck in a 1v2, another unconventional spot, when they're both collapsing on me. So I decided to smoke it off and then push it, knowing that the possibility of them thinking there's like no way of that happening was pretty high. Mainly because you'd have to be an idiot to push that, and you probably shouldn't push that, but once again, unpredictability. But that shows you that even at disadvantage points, you can still turn it around with Omen. So I just ran back, got both the kills, and finito, I got the ace. Hopefully you guys understand that what I mean by strategic plays as Omen is to turn your disadvantage into an advantage by using your spells to capitalize off of other players' stupidity. So as for shrouds, just know that it can be used passively and aggressively, depending on your playstyle and depending on the play that can be made. Now don't do things that are stupid, but do things that are unpredictably wise. Now if you can master the aspect of being unpredictably wise in Omen, you can really carry any game. You don't have to be the best at aim, but more so the best at mind. And I feel like that's what Omen is best at doing, is carrying out an outplay potential. Now, if you can master that outplay potential, you can do things passively, aggressively, or even situationally that players could not have thought of, that can really show you the potential of how broken this champion could be. So when you use your shroud ship, just know that there is a delay from when you can shoot your gun. I believe it's about like a second and a half or something like that. Be very careful of where you decide to shroud step, and make sure that your team knows what you're planning on doing. I have an example of the correct way to do it, and I'll talk about it right after. So when I'm pushing short, the thing that I always do is I push from an angle. So after this guy's trying to peek me, so I'll wait, kill him. Next, there might be someone up here. I'll smoke and teleport.
Cover going
Piece of
out.
couple here. Yeah, I'm gonna go all around.
Next up,
One enemy remaining.
back out, smoke,
Cover
teleport.
going out.
No, I didn't go on top of the box. Be careful to not aim below and expect to go high, because in some cases you might think you're going high, but you're actually not. But you guys got to just like make sure where you're teleporting is completely okay, there is no risk of dying, and that there's a distraction for the enemy team if they're nearby. If there's a distraction, make sure that they stay distracted while you come around and help your teammate by finishing them off from the back when they're least expecting it, with the help of your shroud. If that makes things a little bit easier. If not, I can explain it a little bit more in another video.
Bro, my bad. Shit sucks that you can't leave be on open chat all the time.
Now for strategy.
One enemy remaining.
Outplay.
Now for strategy on Omen, it involves positioning yourself at a more advantageous point during rough circumstances in game, whether through teleport or through, well, mostly through teleport to be honest, and then also using your shroud as a method to confuse. So in this predicament, for example, I placed shroud blocking the enemy team. He suspected me to go towards their spawn, since that's where I rotated. So I knew that he was going to push site and probably look towards spawn, so I tried my best to get an angle to catch him off guard. Now, another form of using your shroud step to an advantage would be to put down a shroud, and then just teleport through them. So in this clip, I show myself teleporting through shrouds and then getting a kill. It's a great way to get advantage through locations safely, especially for flanking. Now another way of using your shot step is by using it passively. Using your shot step passively involves teleporting to a location that is safer or more cautious for danger. It involves using your teleport to get out, or using your teleport to get above at a latitude that is safer to get a kill. To demonstrate using your shot step passively, I'll provide a few clips for you guys to understand. Using your shot step to get to a higher point, but only when your teammates are at an angle that watches the entry. You have a passive angle, in which if your teammate dies, you can still get a pick, or teleport back out safely with no risk. It is important to remain quiet and passive in these angles, not to peek, but to rely on your team to peek and give you information on where they are. Passive play is similar to strategy play, but it is more so using your team's intel to help you, rather than to be aggressive and force plays that may result in your deaths. Here's a clip to provide you an example. Now in this clip, I decided to get to a location that can grab me more intel for my team. I stood by their spawn gate, threw my shrouds, and then listened for any movement. At this point, I heard 3 teammates towards respawn and decided to get out as soon as possible instead of peeking it. After communicating with my teammate, he told me when they were going out and also when they were going back in. After using passive play to gain intel, I swapped to aggressive play and pushed their spawn when they're susceptible to getting ganked from behind. I got 1 kill as they were pushing V site, and also I killed the 2 others on the site because they were not watching their flank from behind. Hopefully I provided enough detail for you to understand. If there is not something that you understood, please feel free to leave it in the comment section below, and I'll try my best to show you an example in the next video. Lastly is the ability from the shadows, the ultimate. Personally, I feel like this ability should only be used one way, and then as strategy. It should not be used aggressively or passively. In the aspect of strategy, it is most effective when it is used fitting the game and the possible scenario that matches best with the game. Ulting into the enemy team may result in you being dead, and also ulting away from a team is a waste of an ultimate, and you probably should not be using it in that manner. Or the ultimate goal should be to catch the enemy off guard. So my preferable way is through flanking. So utilizing my 3 abilities, I decided to smoke the entry, knowing that my friend over here wanted to cross. Now I stand behind my team, listening to the entry, knowing that I have bomb. Like I said, it's most effective on Omen, but I was listening to where the enemy team was firing from, so I know exactly where to flank and where is safe to use my abilities. Now this time I heard that there is 1 on site, 1 back right of site, and 1 heaven, so I teleport to kill the person who is facing my team. I then see the enemy player across the map. Knowing there's also 2 on site with me, I decide to teleport off of the site and rotate back in, knowing that the enemy player would not expect me to teleport towards him. Plus I had a better advantage at killing the other 2 if I got off site as soon as possible. Now at this point I heard that there's 2 who dropped from heaven, so I'm waiting for the sound of it to defuse. If not, I'm going to play behind a corner. I get 1, so now I'm waiting for the other guy. Knowing that I still have my teleport up, I act like I ran away, and then I teleport back in after throwing a shroud and waiting for the enemy team player to throw their shroud. I want him to be confident in the fact that he can defuse, little does he know that I'm going to kill him. So in my experience of playing Omen, I feel like the lore matches the champion. And the fact where you have to play off of building the confidence of an enemy team and then punishing them for the confidence that they have built and thinking that they have an advantage. After a while, you tend to notice that the enemy team starts to play more fearful or precautious, sometimes even sacrificing the gameplay due to the circumstances in which they were confident and were shut down. Usually at that point they're tilted, and getting kills is even easier than the start of the game or mid-game. I hope my tips were helpful and not a waste of time, and I hope you guys have a wonderful night. Thank you for watching.
Look, you rap niggas is orphan, that's about an abortion. My all-time girl is like Serena and Jordan. And the rhymes is mean and pristine like libraries. Bitches keep playing what I think Marion, but I'm thinking gazing. Bitch, you so crazy. Fully coolly is that king, and I do that thing.